So today I'm just going to be rustling up some quick and easy fat balls for the birds, just using a few ingredients. They don't take long to make. There's plenty of food around for the birds at the moment, so this is just to give them a little bit of a supplement. So what I'm using is just a block of lard, ordinary lard. You can use the wet, but I happen to have some lard here because I went shopping in Lidl's this morning, and I've got some seeds, some wild bird seeds, and I've got some sunflower hearts. So that's all I'm going to be using. So the first thing to do is to get my lard in the saucepan and put this on to melt. I'll put it on a low heat while I'm weighing out the seeds and the sunflower hearts. And what you need is roughly double the weight of seeds to lard. So I'll get those weighed out while the fat is melting. So you need about double the amount of seeds to fat. So I'm going to use roughly equal amounts of each. So I've got 250 grams of seeds in there. About 250 grams of sunflower hearts. It's 500 grams. And that's all ready to tip into my fat once it's melted. So the fat is melted now, it's all liquid, and I'm going to tip it up and I'll tip it out. So now I'm going to stir in the seeds and sunflower hearts. Now, you could, of course, put in anything you like that you think the birds will like. Raisins are always good, sultanas, currants. It's a chopped apple. If you don't eat the skin of the apple, you could chop that up quite finely and put that in as well. As the bacon fat is good. So it does look like a lot. Can you see the mixture is quite thick? I'm going to give it a good stir so that all the seeds are coated in fat. Obviously, if you are using nuts, you can get peanuts and all sorts. Don't use the salted variety because it's just as bad for the birds as it is for us. And as you can also see, I'm using my wooden spoon made in Welcome to Our Woods spoon shop in Treherbert. Right, they're all well mixed into the fat now. So the next bit is to wait. As soon as it's cooled, and put it in the fridge and give it an hour or two in the fridge for the lard to set. Okay, so I've taken it out of the fridge now. It's had a good few hours in the fridge. It's pretty solid. So now I'm going to shape them into balls, and I've got a baking tray here ready to put them on. So it's pretty hard. So you just want to get a few spoonfuls. And obviously it depends on what feeder you've got as to how big or small you want to make them. You don't want to make them too big that they won't go in. So just press it all into rounds. And don't worry about the fat melting a little bit in your hands as you're doing it, because I'm going to put them back in the fridge to solidify a bit again after I've made them before they go into the feeder. It actually feels quite nice. I think it's quite therapeutic. It's like going back to my childhood and playing with plasticine. Okay, so they're all done. I've got a nice tray full of fat balls. Took me probably about 15 minutes to make them all because they were quite hard. So all I've got to do now is put them in the fridge for an hour. The sun is quite warm today, so I want them to be nice and solid before I put them out there. I don't want them melting. And then I'll fill my feeder. So I filled my feeder up, hung it in the tree, went to work, came home, and I've eaten a fair bit already. So they obviously like them. Another thing to bear in mind if you do make these fat balls, I think it made about 15, 16 possibly, is they'll keep quite happily in the freezer and you can take them out a few at a time as you want them. So I think we can say they were a great success. And on that note, we will leave them to their lunch.